Hey guys, welcome to Melanin United. This video we're gonna talk about some of these Ebola outbreaks or some of these cases I've been hearing about and seeing about. Now, we've been talking about recently the Uganda and Tanzanian oil pipeline that is funded by them, so it's our project and all that. And we've been talking about the Neanderthals, the cave beasts, the pale beasts that keep what's called trying to interfere in our projects and stuff. And remember what I told you, what they do is first they try to say human rights violation, blah blah. That doesn't work. Then they say the international community all condemns it, which means them, and the United Nations condemns it, which is them. All that European Union stuff. Then when and right now it's not just one country, it's Tanzania, Uganda together. So and if they can't do that, then what else they try to do is then they create crisis to put in that region, so then you won't be able to work on the project or finish the project or continue the project or whatever, right? So isn't it ironic and isn't it just weird, like black people really think about it, isn't it ironic and weird like how the EU were having resolutions and they're trying to deny and trying to like cancel this project between Uganda and Tanzania for the pipeline. And it's interesting because they've been trying to cancel it, but Uganda and Tanzania both denied it, and they're continuing with the project. Now, all of a sudden, we see an Ebola outbreak in Uganda, like some cases in Uganda. That's interesting. And then just today, I seen a case in Tanzania with Ebola. Like, really? If you guys don't know who these people are, if you don't know your history, you really don't know who they are. You don't know their history, like, then you don't you'll just believe everything they say. First they tell you to cancel it, say no. Then they say human rights violation. Then a lot of black people, a lot of Africans will believe, okay, maybe they're violating human rights. And if they don't, then they create diseases and put it in those areas. They're the ones that they created HIV, put it in the Congo, HIV/AIDS. They created Ebola, put it in the Congo. They created the monkeypox and put it in the Congo. And these diseases are being created in Fort Maryland in the states, the American biological military labs, right? They're creating these diseases. Then how is it that these diseases are getting placed in the single richest land on the planet, which is the Congo, right? Because all our cell phones, helicopters, everything come from there, right? How did HIV get found in the Congo mysteriously? Then Ebola gets found in the Congo, and then monkeypox, and then whenever that happens, then they're gonna need the the World Health Organization to go there, and then some Europeans to go there, and they're just going there to steal. You know what I mean? They create these diseases to come and take our stuff and to stop us from doing what we're doing. Every time, like that's the whole thing with the whole green initiative thing. They don't want us to use fossil fuels and use our natural resources, our mineral resources. So that was the whole green initiative thing. And if that's not working, then they create these diseases. You see what I'm saying? Because how is Ebola found? Is there an outbreak in Uganda and then there's cases in Tanzania? How is it not in South Africa or West Africa or now? Why is it not even in East Africa like Kenya and places like that? It's in that specific spot, Uganda and Tanzania, the two countries that are gonna make the oil deal, the oil pipeline. Don't you? Isn't that a coincidence? And then they're gonna try to spread it like a little across the region between, like they're gonna want to put it. They want to put it in Ethiopia and Kenya because right now William Ruto is the president of Kenya, and corruption is being rooted out and stuff. And Kenya is gonna be run like properly, and Ethiopia is being ran properly right now. And they have a problem with Abiy Ahmed, the prime minister of Ethiopia, because Ethiopia made peace with Eritrea. Of course, the Europeans want them to fight, and they use the Tigrayan rebels. Not the There's good Tigrayan citizens, but they use the rebels that they fund to try to destabilize that. So I know they want to make this Ebola spread out to Kenya and Ethiopia too, because yeah, they want to stabilize that whole region because they know the governments of Kenya and Ethiopia are solid right now. They're perfect, not corrupt, and they're fighting for their country. And then the Uganda and Tanzania oil pipeline, that's what they're really trying to stop right now. And they're gonna do everything at all costs to try to stop it, even putting diseases like you see right now. So we gotta try to just don't. That's the problem with having them too many of them in our countries. Like It doesn't even have to specifically be the Europeans in there. It's their organizations, their NGOs, the United Nations, their humanitarian crisis groups, organizations, their LGBTQ groups. They use all these groups, and even black people. You see what I'm saying? They use some coons, some sellouts. They use all these groups to get their agenda accomplished. See? So when you have their workers, their agents in your country, they can bring stuff in like Ebola. They can bring stuff in like just bring all these manners of bad stuff in to destabilize the region, destabilize the country, and stop you from growth, and stop your country from being independent. You know what I mean? So that's their goal and stuff. So that's the problem with having too many of their organizations there, their NGOs, their Catholic Church, all that stuff. All these organizations they create just to put there so they can spy and complete their evil agendas in these countries. So now we just gotta watch their organizations, watch their groups, like monitor them, see what they're doing, see what they're getting involved in, and all that. And I know some governments are already doing that, but just really monitor them, because I know what they're trying to do with this Ebola outbreak. They're trying to stop that project in Tanzania and Uganda, that oil pipeline. Trying to stop that project, and they're trying to destabilize Kenya and Ethiopia, and then Rwanda too, to be honest. So we can't let that happen. But I'm telling you right now, that's what they're trying to do with this Ebola thing. All right, guys, thanks for listening. Like, comment, subscribe.